Hey, I'm Ben Folds, and I'm standing here in the library of the National Symphony Orchestra. Amazing place, got so much music, music to everything. And when the National Symphony Orchestra is playing a concert, someone has to make sure that all these musicians have their music so that the concert happens in the right way. And I don't know how they do it, but this is what they're doing. He's turning some pages, make sure there's no wrong notes on that. And yeah, so this is, we're here to talk about music, and this is music that I've picked out, all this stuff for you to listen to. Let's begin. First I knew of Leonard Bernstein was that when I was a kid, you would see him on television sometimes. Kind of like the bizarre era where you'd see like Truman Capote on television. It was like now the way you see, I don't know, Kanye West on television. And he was either conducting, and he was magnetic that way. He was a great mover. He just looked like music, and I was fascinated by that when I was a kid. Then I found out he wrote West Side Story. And then after that, as an adult, I'm amazed by how articulate he was in getting what we feel like is really complicated music into a space where everyone could understand what it is, because it's just music for human beings. He just saw music as being for people. It's not like, well, this is complicated music, this is not for you, or this is silly music, this is for you. It was about music in general. That you can find YouTube videos of him playing songs by the Kinks on the piano and explaining to people what it is you're hearing. It's like, yeah, you really got me going. As Leonard Bernstein's doing this, and he's amazingly open-minded and just a magnetic musician. I also, one of my favorite things to watch on YouTube is his, he talks about, he did some lectures at Harvard, and one of them is, a part of it is called the syntax of melody, which is like taking the things that you learn in English class about how a sentence is put together, and to see that a melody is just a sentence. And I think we need someone like Leonard Bernstein now to explain to us things that we need to know about music. So we should be celebrating him forever. He was an amazing musician and an amazing man. Overture to Candide by Leonard Bernstein. One notable thing about this is that the overture, as you know, is kind of tells you what the whole story is going to be. And I think of melodies, and I think Bernstein thought of melodies as stories and sentences. So basically with the overture, you're taking the top of the movie or the play or whatever it is, a kind of show that you're doing, and you're saying, here is some foreshadowing, or here is a taste of what you're going to get. And he wrote the music in this, but this one meant so much to him, the overture, that he was the one that scored or put all the notes on the page. So this one he was the orchestrator for. The other ones he hired someone else to do that, and he concentrated more on the broad strokes of it. The overture to Candide has the themes throughout what you're going to see in the show Candide. But what's notable about this in rhythm is that it doesn't all add up to 4. If you're thinking about most of the songs that we know on the radio, you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, and it goes later on. Dun, 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 and you're going to break a hip trying to follow this, you know. But the reason I think that people put things in time, it's kind of hard to explain, it's called a time signature, and it tells you how many beats you're going to count to. So dancers will go 5, 6, 7, 8. They think of things in terms of like there's 8 beats or something going on. Musicians usually 4, but you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can put things in groups of numbers as you want to. 4 works really well because you got 2 feet, and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, left, right, left, right. We like even numbers. 5s, 7s, odd numbers are a little more difficult for people to think about. Well, this has got 5s and 7s and 3s and all kinds of stuff in it. And the reason that it does is because it wants to tell the story with some jerkiness inside it. It wants to tell you a story and stay quirky. It doesn't want to tell you the whole thing like that. It wants to be expressive in another way. So to me, the rhythm in this is part of the way that you tell the story. You surprise people with where beats are going to land. And to me, it's an amazing use of it because it doesn't make me feel like I'm counting to listen to it. It sounds right. There was a piece called Take 5 by Dave Brubeck in roughly the same era. And it was showing people that you could count in 5 instead of 4. And apparently, somehow, he claims to have written this based on horses. I don't know, they got 4 legs, maybe he's counting the tail. I'm not exactly sure. But he said he listened to horses and he made that song. This is Ravel, and Maurice Ravel, and he wrote when he was very young my favorite string quartet. And the string quartet is just 4 players, 2 violins, viola, and cello, which is the meat of an orchestra string section. Of course, in the orchestra, you also have the double basses, which are huge, low sound. And that's necessary in a huge string section. But with the string quartet, you only have 4 of them. And it's actually, you would think that was easier to write for a string quartet, but it's actually very difficult to write a good piece for the string quartet. And that Ravel did this really young. Apparently he took it to, the other cat on here is Claude Debussy. And he was older, kind of a little bit of a teacher for him. And Ravel had brought this string quartet to Debussy and said, yeah, I'm trying to figure out some stuff to change. And he said, don't change a note, it's all great. So he rocked this in his 20s, which I think is amazing because I'm 75 and I could never write something like that. But I would say, as far as music goes, and I guess you're probably a little young for having boyfriends and girlfriends, but when you do, I think this is a good thing to dedicate. Like, this is a good slow jam that'll definitely win. That'll win over a girl or boy or whichever direction that you want to go. This should work. I would highly recommend, especially the first movement of it is beautiful. It's a string quartet in F, da 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 da, and that's what it sounds like. But Zadok the priest, I mean, it's, you know, the first time you hear it, you might go, oh, that sounds like church music, but so much good music is about listening to it more than once. And the more you listen to this, you're gonna freak out. It's really neat. Now, all the stuff about the king towards the end, you can insert your own imagery. It can be Elvis, or it can be, you know, it can be your favorite wrestler or whatever. We don't have to talk about the king there at the end like they are, because the lyrics are written by someone who's been dead for a long time. But the piece itself, people singing together and sounding that beautiful, it's a total hit song. I seriously think it's one of the first big hits, I think. I recommend listening to it more than once. Give it 3 spins, and if you don't like it, you can call Uncle Ben up and get your money back. This is Rachmaninoff. Crazy Russian, came over to the States. It was total rock star. It's like Elvis kind of stuff. His piano concertos are really hard to play. They're known for being hard to play, especially the cadenzas. The cadenza is the moment where all the rest of the orchestra take a break. They go out back, play ping pong, go catch up on their phone calls, and the soloist, the piano player, goes nuts. Back in Mozart's day, a lot of people used to freestyle a cadenza, so you could play anything you want. This, I would not recommend doing this without a net. If you're going to learn the piano part to the third piano concerto by Rachmaninoff, I would just pretty much not try to freestyle this. It's pretty difficult as it is. But the thing about it is that it makes a complete rock star out of the composer and the soloist. And it's a level at which not many people will ever be able to perform. The recording I like of this is a guy named Van Cliburn. And it's a live recording. Someone's coughing all through the second movement. It's that live, you can hear. but you can really hear it breathing, and it sounds real, it sounds exciting. And about a piece like this, you think that all classical musicians are perfect, but no musician is perfect. And they're scared out of their wits when they're playing something like this. And the tension of just that is palpable in a recording, and I think that one particularly sounds very live without a net. It's beautiful. I think it throws a temper tantrum a couple times in the piano part. I think that if you listen to the piano part and you think of it as like you would think of punk rock, or you would think of yelling, it's like very artful temper tantrum. And I think that's important, because when you're making music, you're communicating something. And this is really not technically romantic, but it's a romantic, beautiful, emotional piece. Some people thought it was too long and thought it was too many notes, too verbose. I love to listen to it, and it's always been one of my favorite pieces, and I like a good temper tantrum sometimes. So, but it features a piano concerto is a discussion between the piano player and the orchestra. Sometimes they trade. Sometimes they go, "What's up? Yeah. What's up? Yeah." Other times they're hollering together or harmonizing. It can be a competition. Well, let's see who's going to win. Is the piano player going to win, or is the orchestra going to win? And sometimes they're working together, even in unison. And I think it's an amazing ride, and just the first movement alone, I think, is plenty to bite off. I would listen to it a couple times. Beethoven. This is the 5th piano concerto clavier concert, and we're talking about the second movement, right? The second movement of this piece, this Beethoven piece, is really very Beethoven, which maybe that doesn't make sense to you yet, but it's one thing at a time, and it's built. The way it's built, one note at a time, is like a conversation. Now, people listen. I've seen people of all ages listen to the second movement of this piece, whether they liked classical music or not, and tear up. Something about it hits people. I'd like to see if that happened to you. If you listen to it by yourself, not like this is cool, or you listen to it with your friends, listen to it by yourself and think about that. It can be, to me, it's a conversation, and it sounds like, this is just me. If some people might think, well, it sounds like, you know, a monkey in the zoo that's having a conversation with the kid, trying to tell the kid that they should get the keys and let them out of the zoo. But to me, it sounds like an old man talking before his death and telling you things, that life is not as simple as you think it is. It has the effect to me of telling you that life is not as simple as you think it is. And it's not negative or positive. It just is. It's a brilliant piece. Some music you can listen to 3 times, and it's your favorite piece of music. You know, like a song, like comes on the radio, like that's my favorite song. I'll listen to it 10 times, that's it, we're done, I'm out, next piece of music. This one, if you make friends with this piece of music now, you'll stay friends with it for your whole life for different reasons. You might not like it for a couple years, and you'll come back to it and realize that it was much better than you ever thought it was. That's the beauty of orchestral music and music that we call classical, is it was built in that way. It wasn't built to be your best friend for 5 seconds and then I'm out of here and then the next flavor comes in. This is stuff has lasted for hundreds of years, will last for hundreds of more years. More people over more continents, more cultures know this music than know any kind of Elvis Presley or Britney Spears or any of that stuff. This is what more people in the world who have lived know and have in common, and you should definitely listen to it. This one's in a little score. This is a little different. This is he's crazy. This is a Janáček piece called Sinfonietta. Sinfonietta. It requires a whole lot of trumpet players, and it's different than everything else. You'll hear it. I don't know how to describe it's different than everything else, but it reminds me of the White Stripes. You know, Jack White. I think the song dum 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 dum. That's a real simple, boneheaded little thing. This is like da 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 da. Like it's like a rock piece, and it's really, really primal and interesting. And then as it opens up, you realize that the brute that you made friends with at the very beginning has a lot more going on, and it's not long, so you know it doesn't take, like, it's good for short attention span. I love it. I'd like to hear it more, but you have to hire a whole lot more trumpet guys and line them up in the back, and then the rest of the concert they don't have anything to do, so it doesn't get played as much as I think it should. In terms of rhythm, it's another thing that's like, it grooves. You think classical music doesn't groove. Rock and roll and hip hop and R&B grooves, but this is actually pretty groovy music. It's based on rhythm. It's turning a rhythm upside down, if you will. It's like if you go da da dum dum da da dum dum, it's going up in the air. I can't describe it any better than that. But he didn't go da da dum dum da da dum dum. That would be boring. He's like da da dum dum da da dum dum. That's all you need in music. That and about 70,000 trumpet players. Mahler, Second Symphony. This is where the guy became a huge rock star. And it's big. It's the loudest, biggest thing you'll ever hear out of grown-ups on a stage with no mics, no anything. It's loud and exciting. It's primal. It's the kind of thing that makes men want to go to boxing matches. It's just rowdy. It's a very rowdy piece. It requires so much of the orchestra that very often they don't even fit on the stage. Yeah, you're hiring guys to play, and you're hearing music, it's off the side of the stage. They just did it here with the NSO, and it was amazing. Like, I hope that you can see it live someday, because it's the way to see it. There's a really exciting part where the longest chimes, which are tubular bells, are like, it sounds like a ding dong, you know, those things. Guy has to usually climb up a ladder in order to play them, so that's really fun. And as you think nothing else can happen, they haven't thrown in the kitchen sink yet, and then they wheel out the old guy to play the organ, and or it could be the old lady to play the organ, but they wheel out somebody to play the organ. Actually, they don't have to wheel him out. He can usually walk himself, but there's the effect that he's come out like the organ was driving, and he comes out on stage. So yeah, this is about, you know, not just bombast and sensational music. It's got all kinds of interesting tones in it. You'll hear the violins, you know, playing what we call pizzicato, and that happens for some movements where you go ping, 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 and they're not playing with the bow, they're striking it with their fingers. That happens in a lot of pieces, but you don't expect it to happen after you've been beaten over the head with, you know, with something. So what else can be said about this? I believe this man is played probably more by orchestras than anyone else, right? I mean, he probably has close to the record. He would be in the top 2 or 3 anyway. Gershwin would be really big. Our George Gershwin gets played a whole lot. Mahler's the thing that you play with an orchestra. It's like wet t-shirt contest. You know, it's like karaoke night or something, ladies' night at the NSO. It brings the people in, and it puts butts in seats. And I would put yours in a seat and see Mahler if you ever have the chance. Live, it'll mean a lot more to you than it will on headphones. But if you ever go to the concert to see Mahler, listen to it a couple times, go to Wikipedia or something and learn about his life, and then go see it. Look, we've been talking about a lot of really old music, and I'm telling you the things that I feel when I hear it. A lot of times when we think about the symphony orchestra, we're thinking about something that's, you know, it's like dead German time or something. people that wrote music a long time ago. They don't exist anymore, and this is somewhere off in the corner playing for old people, when in fact, the orchestra, you hear it every single day. When you watch a movie, you know, think about, I mean, now Star Wars is a classic. You know, so John Williams' composition that everybody knows, and it's the Symphony Orchestra. Any movie you go to, you're hearing, you know, it could be the London Symphony Orchestra, or sometimes the LA Philharmonic. You're hearing the world's best orchestras every single day. So don't think it's something that you don't listen to, because you listen to it all the time. There would be no war movie, no love movie, any of those that would be complete without an orchestra score. And they're trying to do their best of being as good as the stuff that I just pointed out. So when you listen to this, think about it like it's the soundtrack to your life. Or think about, you know, not all music is good for all times. You might be in a, oh, sorry, I've got a mic on there. You might be in a Mahler chest pounding mood. And then Mahler's the best thing that you'll ever hear. But maybe one day you're not in that mood. You're like more in a kind of a romantic mood, and you pick up the string quartet and you listen to that. Not all music's for all the time. I mean, it's all very relevant now. I would listen to the things that you're interested in. Go to the playlist and cheat. Skip around a couple little parts and give it, I don't know, count to 15 or something like that, and then move on, just to see what it sort of sounds like. You don't have to sit there and eat your spinach for the next however long. Just listen to little bits and see what you think of it. When you find one that you're interested in, that you like, go back to the beginning of it, take a deep breath, and listen to the whole thing. And I think you'll be surprised at what you'll get out of it.